here with us today we have experts who will help you locate your next property, finance that property, and if necessary, clean up your credit. Hi, welcome to Talking Real Estate. I'm your host, Brad Lewis, and here with us today we have experts who will help you locate your next property, finance that property, and if necessary, clean up your credit. Here with us first is Mr. Jeff Barton to discuss current market conditions. Here with us is Jeff Barton, and Jeff, some of our viewers and myself personally were curious, how are the current market conditions in real estate today?
Thanks, Brad. Conditions locally and conditions nationally. You might hear that the entire country is going through a bad time and it's a terrible time to buy real estate. Locally, each market is different. In your market, you may see a lot of foreclosures, a lot of repossessed homes. These are great opportunities for people who actually can qualify for a mortgage and can go and get the home.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jeff. Well, as you know, on our show, we like to educate those who are in the market looking for a new piece of real estate today. So if you don't mind, we'll go to some of our viewers' questions now and we'll get some of those responses direct from you.
Great.
The economy is not so great. Is now a good time to buy a house?
Now see, that's a great question. Jeff, what would you say, is today a good time to buy a home?
Yes, it is. A couple things you got to remember though. You have to be qualified to buy the home financially. Now, what does that mean? Well, we've got some experts that are going to help you decide for yourself and guide you along as to credit problems, mortgage issues, real estate questions. But yes, in my opinion, right now is a great time to buy a home.
Well, perfect. Thank you so much. Our next question then.
Okay, I'm ready to buy a home. What's my next step?
See, there's another fantastic question, Jeff. What is the next step for someone who's actually ready to make that purchase now?
Two things you have to do. One, you have to find someone to help you find the house, and then someone to help you finance the house.
Very good. Now that actually instills a question to me because I've been through the process before, and finding the right person to finding you a home and also finding the right person to find the financing for the home, equally challenging. Would you agree?
I agree. And you know what? The most important thing here is to be able to understand how much you can afford before you even go out to find a home. Sure. So in order to do that, you've really got to find a great mortgage broker, somebody who can understand you and the process by which to get a loan approval, and then deal with them. Then you find a great realtor, then you go out and find a great home, and you go and live happily ever after.
Yeah, that's exactly the way I've experienced it. Thank you,
exactly.
Jeff.
Okay.
Hey, our next question was?
Okay, I already own a home. I'm losing my home. Is there any help for me?
Okay, now a lot of people in today's economy, very similar situation. Jeff, how would you respond to that question? Someone who's got a little bit of a challenge right now with the equity in their home, what is their next move, and is there something that they can look for out in the market today?
Yes, there is. The most important thing, however, is you got to really find a professional, someone who knows exactly what you're going to need specifically. Generally, there's foreclosure, there's short sale, there's bankruptcy. These are the things that are options to you, and we'll try to get into that when we introduce some of the other experts in the field during the show.
Fantastic. Thank you again, Jeff, and thank you for being with us here today on Talking Real Estate. Always a pleasure. So we have with us now an expert in credit repair, Melissa Barba. Melissa, thank you for joining us. And if you would, please tell us a little bit about what it is you do for your clients in repairing their credit.
We do credit repair. How do we do so? First of all, we'll evaluate your personal specific case. After we've done so, we'll take the proper steps in order to get your credit where it needs to be for you to be able to buy a home. As simple as that.
Very good. Thank you. That sounds very good. And I'll tell you what, as you know on our show, Melissa, we take questions direct from our viewers. So if you don't mind, we'll go to our first question now, and that is?
I have bad credit. Can I still buy a home?
Well, see, now that's a very good question. Melissa, how would you answer this viewer's question? Somebody who feels they have a challenge in their credit, are they still going to be able to go through your program and ultimately buy a home?
Of course, because with our expertise, we're able to help the client understand how credit works. And there's many components in credit. not only if you pay on time, there's other things such as balances, how many accounts you have, what type of accounts you have, how to open new accounts, even if you have bad credit. So there's many, many things that most of the consumers don't know that we can help them understand.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. And now we'll go to our very next question.
I have a foreclosure and I heard I can't buy a home right now. Can you still help me?
See, there's another real good question. Melissa, would you be able to work with someone who's had a foreclosure?
Absolutely. We're able to help clients with all types of issues, such as foreclosures, bankruptcies, collections, charge-offs, medical bills, student loans, judgments, tax liens, you name it. Anything that is in the credit report can be removed and has been removed.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you, that is great news. And it actually triggers a question that I have for you. Now, how quickly can we start to see the efforts of your work start to reflect on a credit report?
I thought you never asked. People don't believe it when we tell them that it can actually be done in 30 to 45 days. And in average, most of our clients at least get an increase from 40 to 80 points within that period of time.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you, you've probably just helped a lot of people sleep better at night, because I'll tell you, me personally, I know I could use your services, and there are a number of folks out there that I'm certain will find that your services are very, very valuable. Melissa, I'd like to thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to meet you. And folks, please stay with us. We've got some very exciting stuff coming up. So folks, we've just covered how to clear up your credit history. We now move into the very next step of the process, which is obtaining the mortgage that's right for you. We've brought in an expert in the mortgage lending industry, Angela Torres. Angela, thank you for joining us. And why don't you tell us a little bit about what it is that you do in the mortgage industry?
Well, I am a mortgage specialist, and what I do is I work hand in hand with the borrower to help them obtain a home loan.
Got it. Okay, so what specifically is involved in obtaining a home loan?
Well, what we do is we review the credit, we pair them with the correct program to fit their needs, and we walk them through the closing.
Oh, fantastic. Well, once again, on our show, we like to take questions direct from our viewers who are in the market for a mortgage now. So if you don't mind, we'll go to our very first question.
Why should I use a mortgage broker instead of going to my bank?
Angela, why should someone use a mortgage broker to help them find the right loan for them?
Well, by using a mortgage specialist, you are then hiring someone to represent you. And by doing so, we can then pair you to the correct program to fit your financial needs, which will then overall increase your chances for home approval.
Okay, cool. So if I can recap, the 3 bullet points of working with a loan officer include having someone that's going to represent my needs specifically, find the exact program that fits those needs, and overall make this thing a much easier process to walk through.
Correct.
Got it. Okay, we've got another really good question here.
What do I need to qualify for a mortgage loan?
Okay, well, most people would want to know the answer to this question, Angela. How does someone qualify for a home loan in today's market?
Well, generally, the average person would need a 640 FICO and 20% down. But there are other programs out there, like an FHA program, that would require 3.5% with a FICO as low as 580. We also can help people who might have some credit challenges, no tax return, or possible down payment assistance. They just simply need to call us and we can assist them at that point.
So now what about for the veterans out there?
Well, there's actually a specific program for a veteran. Their loans are actually guaranteed and they can put as little as $1 down.
Wow, that is great news, I'm sure, for many. Now, we're going to jump to one more question, if you don't mind, and that would be...
I have a foreclosure. Can I still qualify for a mortgage loan?
See, now there's another great question I'm sure pertains to many. Angela, how would you respond to our situation where someone may have some challenges? Where do they begin the process to qualify for a mortgage in today's market?
Well, I wouldn't exactly assume that you don't qualify. The first step is contacting a mortgage specialist to assist you in obtaining a loan. And remember that the consultation is free.
Very good. Well, again, I'd like to thank you for joining us in our studios today. So folks, there you have it. And as always, if we've not addressed any of your questions yet today, please feel free to reach out to us at the toll-free number at the bottom of the screen. So far we've covered how to clear up any negative credit history, how to qualify for a mortgage in today's market, and next it's the most exciting piece of this puzzle. Let's go out and locate our very next piece of real estate. Here with us today we've got an expert in the real estate industry, Mr. Neil Ung. And Neil, I know that you've been in the industry for a number of years, but if you wouldn't mind, please tell our viewers a little bit about your experience and what it is you do in the real estate market.
Well, as a real estate agent, I sit down with buyers, analyze their goals, look at what they can afford, and we'll find them their dream home.
Perfect. So time for our very first question from a viewer.
I heard it's a bad real estate market. Should we buy a home now or wait a little bit longer?
There's a really good question because, Neil, we've all heard that there's some challenges in our economy right now. How would you respond to this viewer's question? Is now a good time to purchase a home?
Brad, that's probably the question I get asked the most during this time. And right now, with real estate making ups and downs, probably the best time to purchase a home for a great price. As across the nation, we have the lowest median home prices we've had in years. It's a good time to buy a home.
Got it. So from what I gather, you're saying now's the ideal time to make a purchase because the market is fluctuating on the bottom end of that curve.
That's right.
Great. Okay, now to our next question.
Do you recommend buying a foreclosure?
Right, so a real popular topic in the news today. Are foreclosures a pretty good buy for an interested party in the market today?
Brad, I'm glad you asked that question because right now we're probably seeing foreclosure prices at record-breaking levels. I mean, even myself, we are dealing with buyers who are buying foreclosures, and these buyers will be the ones who will be very happy years from now because they bought today.
We've got another question for you, Neil.
I heard that right now is the best time to buy a home. How do I start the process?
See, and again, I would agree with this viewer. Now is the right time to make a purchase. And Neil, you can answer the question best. How does someone begin the process today?
Well, the first step you want to do is speak with a mortgage broker. You have to know where your point A is to know how much you could afford to buy. Once you speak with a mortgage broker, go over your financials and see a price and the mortgage payments you're willing to make, then you can speak with an agent like myself and we can begin to look for properties that suit your needs.
Fantastic. Well, again, Neil, I'd like to thank you for joining us today and answering some of the questions of our viewers. Again, folks, if there are any questions that you didn't hear the answers to, please feel free to reach out to us at our toll-free number at the bottom of the screen. Neil, thanks again for stopping in.
Hey,
always
thanks,
a
Brad.
pleasure. Thank you. And folks, we're back with Talking Real Estate. We have with us now an expert in short sale transactions. And Annalyn, how are you today?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Great.
If you would, please tell us a little bit about your background and what your specialty is.
Yes, I've been in a short sale for the past 5 years, and I specialize on helping owners that are struggling on their mortgage payments and also the properties that are upside down.
Okay. Well, very good. Annalyn, as you know, we ask the questions of our studio audience, as well as folks out on the street from time to time, what it is they may want to know a little bit more about the background and particular topics that our specialists actually specialize in. So we'll go now to our very first question.
I've been hearing a lot about short sales. What is a short sale?
Well, we may as well start there. Simple question, please, if you would define what is a short sale for our audience.
Sure. Short sale means that the bank agrees to take less than what originally owed by the homeowners.
Okay, I've got it. Thank you very much, Annalyn. We'll go now to the very next question.
What are the steps to obtain a short sale?
Okay, very good. What is the short sale process? Can you walk us through what an actual sale transaction would look like for a short sale?
Sure. If you call us, we can determine whether you are qualified for the short sale or not. And secondly, we require documentation in order for us to make sure that you do qualify with the lender, such as 2 current pay stub, 2 years tax returns, and also current bank statements. This will help the bank determine whether you do qualify for a short sale or not. We do market the property for a potential buyer, and as soon as we get a potential buyer, we actually submit the short sale package for further negotiation with the bank. And the last thing is, as soon as it gets approved, we open escrow and we just close the transaction there.
Okay, very good. Well, it sounds like a pretty straightforward process. Identify the property, make sure your borrower qualifies, and then begin the escrow process. Is that right?
Yes, Brad, it is.
Okay, good. Well, we've got another question for you, Annalyn, and we'll jump to that now.
Is there any additional fees to purchase a short sale?
Okay. A good question. Probably many people would want to know what is the cost to actually get this process going and how much does it cost to actually conclude the transaction?
Absolutely no cost to you. All you have to do is call us today and we can start the process.
Okay, well, fantastic. Annalyn, thank you so much for dropping in today. It's always a pleasure. And folks, in case we didn't get to any of the questions that you may have on the subject of short sale transactions, please feel free to dial the number at the bottom of the screen and we'll have someone here ready to take your call. Okay, so now we've heard some really good facts about the short sale process, or commonly known as an REO. Folks, we've got with us now another expert to talk with us about the foreclosure market. And with us is Mike, who's got a tremendous amount of experience in the foreclosure process. Folks, Mike, how you doing today?
Great, and you?
Doing really well, thank you. Mike, if you would please tell us a little bit about your experience in the foreclosure sales process and just fill us in a little bit.
Sure. I've been working for the banks now for about 6 years doing foreclosures, and typically what I'll do is once that property gets foreclosed by the bank, I'll go out as a representative of the bank and obtain possession of that property, coordinating repairs that we have to do on that property, and get it ready for resale back on the market.
Got it. Well, I've no doubt you've been very busy lately with all the press and the media that's talking about foreclosures these days.
Absolutely, it's been very busy.
Good. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to go to a question from our viewers, if you don't mind, and we'll see if we can get some good answers for that the question now.
Sure.
I saw foreclosure in my neighborhood. My sister-in-law is interested in the property. How does she go about obtaining it?
Okay, so another pretty common scenario, I'm sure, for you, Mike. How would this individual go about obtaining some information and perhaps even acquiring this property?
Well, absolutely the first thing that they would have to do is they would have to contact a licensed realtor. Purchasing a foreclosure can be a very convoluted and sometimes difficult task that I would not recommend anyone try to take on by themselves. Easiest thing to do would be to give us a call. We'll match you up with one of our specialized buyer's agents, and they would be able to assist you in getting that property.
Okay, very good. We're going to jump to another question now, and that is,
can I buy a foreclosure on credit, or do I need cash?
Okay, so this individual wants to know if they're going to need a whole boatload of cash to come in and acquire this property. Mike, what has your experience been with that sort of a scenario?
Actually, you don't need a huge amount of cash, or all cash for that matter, to purchase a foreclosure. One of the common misconceptions is that the foreclosures are only for investors with a huge amount of capital to invest. This isn't true. You can actually purchase a foreclosure as a finance buyer, but the best way to figure this out and go through that process would be to call us so we can match you up with one of our experienced buyer's agents, and they can walk you through it.
Okay, very good. We've got one more question for us now.
I was told it takes forever to purchase a foreclosure. Is that true?
Okay, so Mike, fact or fiction? Is it true that it takes a little bit longer for a foreclosure sale transaction to take place, or is it right up there with the rest of the regular real estate transactions?
Actually, it's a lot quicker than your standard real estate transaction, and even quicker than a short sale. You're not waiting for a bank's approval. The bank has already done their due diligence and everything that needs to be done to that property to go to the market. So once you get into escrow, it's a very quick process.
Okay, got it. We've got another question for us actually, Mike, and if you don't mind, we'll go to it now.
Hi, I do have a question because of the economic situation, you know, in the States, a lot of people have bad credit. So my question is, can still people with bad credit qualify to buy a house or foreclosure? How does that work?
Okay, another real good question for you, Mike. Would this person be able to buy a foreclosure with less than perfect credit?
Absolutely. Each case varies on an individual basis, so the best thing to do would be to give us a call so we can match you up with one of our buyer's agent who could go through your individual scenario and determine what's best for you. But perfect credit is absolutely not a requirement to purchase a foreclosure.
Okay, got it. Well, Mike, thank you very much for stopping in today.
No problem.
Always a pleasure. And folks, again, if you have any questions that we didn't quite get to with this particular segment, please feel free to contact us at the toll-free number below. Thank you very much. Okay, we've covered a lot of really good ground thus far. In our next segment, we're going to discuss the FHA lending process, and particularly an FHA streamline refinance. We're very fortunate to be joined with an expert in the field, Mr. Charles Giscombe. Charles, welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for your time.
Appreciate it.
So Charles, in this format, what we like to do is to take questions direct from our viewers, ultimately many folks who become our clients. So we have a live streaming social media feed, and I'll be reading some questions directly from the viewers as they come in, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Excellent. The very first question, and I think it's a great one to kick us off, is what is an FHA streamline refinance?
That's a great question. A lot of my clients ask that. An FHA streamline refinance loan is simply a refinance of a loan that is currently with FHA.
Okay, so it's someone, if I understand it correctly, who's already paying on an FHA loan, and they just simply want to perhaps lower their rate or maybe change their term a bit. Okay, good, very good. The very next question comes in, and that is, what are the qualifications of an FHA streamline loan?
Well, the qualifications for an FHA Streamline loan are simply you have to currently have an FHA loan and you have to be current on your FHA mortgage payment.
Okay, thank you. So that sounds fair enough. So if I'm already in an FHA loan and I'm current on making my FHA loan payments, I thereby qualify. Great question, great response. Thank you, Charles. So our next viewer wants to know, what are the differences between an FHA Streamline versus a normal refinance? Charles, how would you respond to that?
Now that's a question we get often, the difference between an FHA loan or Streamline loan and a normal refinance loan. Well, the difference simply is in the qualification and documentation. With an FHA Streamline refinance loan, you don't need as much documentation such as income, bank statements, credit reports that view the full credit history of a client. So basically, you limit the documentation and qualifications, and you also no longer need an appraisal for the property in order to get an FHA Streamline refinance done.
Okay, wow, that really defines the term streamline. I can see how a lot of the details maybe are expedited in the process, so this makes a lot of sense. Now here's a question that comes to us. Will my credit be checked in an FHA Streamline refinance?
Well, FHA requires that they only check the credit to make sure that your mortgage payment is current. All other credit is disregarded.
And that's right. So it really speeds up the process when all other line items of your credit report other than your current FHA mortgage are disregarded. So, Charles, we have time for just one more question in this segment. Again, we'll look to our live streaming social media feed. This question is, how long does an FHA Streamline refinance take? Charles, how would you respond?
Well, that's a great question. Typically, an FHA Streamline refinance takes 15 to 30 days, depending on the volume of the FHA loans going into the system.
Wow, so you can really see how an FHA Streamline refinance can happen so much more quickly than a traditional refinance once things really get moving. Charles, it's been a great honor having you in our office today.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate your time and great questions from our viewers coming across the live social media feed today. Don't leave us just yet. We've got a very special segment coming up on the art of flipping real estate. Welcome back. Now we're going to talk about the very, very hot topic in real estate today, which is acquiring real estate for a very aggressive price and then moving on to your financial goals and objectives from there. We're very happy to be joined with Mr. Brooke Fain, who's got more than 15 years experience in the industry doing just that. Brooke, thank you so much for coming in today.
Hey Brad, thanks for having me.
Nice to see you. So Brooke, as you know, and we discuss this on each and every segment of this show, we like to talk about these very unique processes that exist in real estate, and then we bring in experts such as yourself to help field some questions that come in directly from our viewers. So we're going to look to our live media stream for the very first question today, and that question is, how do I acquire a foreclosure property, and then how do I move forward with that process? Brooke, how would you answer that question?
It's a great question, Brad. I get it all the time. The first most important thing with getting a foreclosure property is don't do it on your own. You got to have a qualified team. This is what we do all the time. It starts with the fact that we could all figure out how to go change the transmission out of our car, but who would want to do that? When you work with a team, you're going to do it faster, you can create more momentum, and you're going to do a better job with knowing exactly how to get to the next steps in the game. We've worked with every type of buyer out there and investor out there. First-time home buyers, sometimes a first-time investor. My team has even worked with some of the largest acquisition guys in the business. Now, one thing that we do know is that a lot has changed in the past 5 years. Real estate is cyclical. We all know that. It's going to go through different cycles, and we've just reached another cycle. As a matter of fact, the opportunity to strike is now. So my answer to you, Brad, is you got to work with a qualified team. It's first and foremost, get the exact know-how for guys that are on the ground every day doing this. You're going to have the best success at it, and you're going to have a lot more fun with it too.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And I'll tell you what, we've got another very good question now, which is, how is it best determined whether I will rent the property or if I should flip the home?
Know ahead of time where you stand. Have you sat down? Have you taken what I call the vital statistics of where you are in your business? Are you a first-timer or are you a professional? Where do you want to go with this? Thus, by working with the right team, we'll know right then and there how to match up your buying needs, your criteria, and your threshold to exactly what inventory is out there, and that will determine whether you're going to buy and hold that property or you're going to fix and flip it, maybe turn a quick profit and move on to the next one.
Very good. Well, Brooke, I'll tell you, there's an old adage that my coach used to say, and that you're going to miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So I'll tell you, if there's anyone out there who thinks that perhaps you might have a deal that you're looking at, or even that you might not be qualified or ready to take action on this, please give us a call at the number you see here. Our team will work with you. We are specialized, we are experienced, and we are very, very motivated to get your deals done in a timely manner and ensure, to the best effort, your profitability on the deal. Well, Brooke, you bring up some other very valid points in the real estate industry. And I'll tell you another great segue here, because we had a question just come across our live social media feed that asks, what is a specialized foreclosure real estate team comprised of? Now, we talk a lot about teams in this space, right? The real estate industry has all kinds of teams and groups of professionals and organizations. So how would you answer this viewer's question about a specified team that would go out to help somebody through the processes that you've just discussed with us?
That's a great question, Brad. Listen, I'm going to give you my quick list of what a professional real estate team should look like and can ensure your success if you're investing in real estate. First and foremost, you need a real estate agent or real estate professional that specializes in investment properties. Have they bought property themselves is very important. Secondly, these days right now, the banks are holding the cards. You need to be working with someone who's qualified to work directly with the bank. That is literally a quintessential part to this equation, is that can you work with someone who has a direct contact with the bank themselves. Secondly, you need an excellent mortgage professional. These guys are quintessential into making certain that you're going to be able to get your deals done and closed in closed escrow. I also can't live without my home inspector. My home inspector can go in, no matter what we've done in the beginning, to vet out this property. Once we can get inside the property and get a professional opinion about what's going on inside this property, or maybe what's behind the walls, are there pitfalls, or are there other things to worry about that might affect our bottom line or our profitability, my home inspector is going to know about that. And then lastly, I have to have a trusted contractor or someone that can help me with any kind of rehab work that's going to be done, whether that be cosmetic or a complete overhaul on the property. But most importantly, make certain that you're working with a team of professionals that know how to get the deal done and have done it before, time and time again.
Well, that really sums it up, Brooke, and I appreciate your feedback on all of this. If I heard it correctly, we need to be looking for a specialized real estate agent, a very good and experienced mortgage professional. And perhaps sometimes our first line of defense is that property inspector that can point out those fine details of the properties that we're interested in. And of course, to have a good contractor on hand to make minor or perhaps even more significant repairs on these properties. Brooke, it's been an absolute pleasure having you in office here, sir.
Thanks for having me, Brad.
Thank you for your time. So folks, please, dial our toll-free number. It won't cost you anything to have our professionals weigh in on the deals that you may or may not be considering now, and perhaps we can shed some light on some deals that you might just want to take a look at. Folks, we're talking real estate. It's been a pleasure to have you here as well. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.